Hey guys, Kirk here, and thank you for joining me on a new video on the channel. In this video we are going to be looking at edge ripples, but before we get started I just want to thank everyone who is showing their support for the free education that I'm sharing on my YouTube channel. I went through the analytics last night for the first time and realised that 74% of people who use my channel are not subscribed. So do us a favour guys and girls, subscribe, it doesn't cost you anything, and show that support and help me build this channel up, which is still relatively new. But yeah, show your support, it'd be much appreciated. If you have any comments or questions about my videos, feel free to leave it in the comments below. For a quicker response, jump on our Discord and ask me in there and you'll get a quicker response, and you also get free normal maps and textures that I use in my videos on this channel and future videos as well. So yeah, thanks for that. The little rant is over. So yeah, we're going to be looking at edge ripples, and what I mean by edge ripples is, as you can see in last week's video, we set up our surface normals and our refraction for our water surface, and with water like this and like a small lake, this water will be crashing up against these rocks in real life and bouncing off it and coming back into the water, which would then create edge ripples or ripples around the edges of these rocks. And that's what we are going to be looking at in today's video. So let's get started. As you can see here, this is the build up to now of our lake shader. Like I said, we did our normals and refraction last week, and we also started using vector 4s for parameters. And like I did say in the video, like off camera, I would use vector 4s for my parameters, in which I have done. But anyway, let's get on with these edge ripples. So the main node we're going to need for edge ripples is called distance to nearest surface. So if I right click and start to preview this, let's make this a little bit bigger, and we'll use a square, as the top of a square is flat, and that's what our water surface is, flat. Okay, so as you can see here, this node is a mask basically. The black bit, the grey bit in the middle is not going to show ripples, but the whites around the edge will. So what I want to do is utilise this and blend them together. So in the middle, our standard normals, surface normals will be in the middle, whilst this white part or greyish white part around the edge is going to display our ripples. So yeah, what I want to do is add a world position node here, absolute world position, and this is going to give our distance to nearest surface node our absolute world position. What I also want to do is give us the ability to make this brighter and darker, or better still to, well, let's just say, imagine this dark bit in the middle is a rock. I'm going to create a divide node here, like so, and what this is going to do, it's going to enable us to make this white bit bigger and smaller, so we get more distance on our ripples. But you'll see that soon enough. So I'm going to hold S on the keyboard and get a scalar parameter in, and we're going to call this ripple distance, like so. I'm going to start off with a 10 for now. We're going to plug that into the divide node. We'll just stop previewing that now. That flickering's making me crazy. What I need to do now is clamp this. This is going to clamp it between 0 to 1. We're going to get a multiplier node in, hold M on the keyboard and left click. We'll get this multiplier node in, and what we're going to do here, we're going to set how many ripples we want. So we could call this ripple amount, like so. I'll probably set this to like 3 to start off with. We'll plug that into our multiplier node. How should we do this? what I want to do now, because ripples are obviously animated, but I don't want to use a panner node and all this good stuff, so I'm just going to set up a speed parameter. So I'm going to hold M on the keyboard, get a multiply, I'm going to right click, get a time node. This time node is just the engine time. When we plug it into a multiply node with a scalar parameter, we can multiply, we can manipulate the time of the engine. So I'm going to hold S on the keyboard and left click, get a scalar parameter, and we're going to call this ripple speed. So I'm going to leave this at a low number like 0.3 to start with. And simply want to add these two together. So I'm going to hold A on the keyboard and left click, just going to add these two together. We'll right click this now, start previewing. It's just dead bright. And the way this is going to work, guys, is basically now I've got our distance to nearest surface set up with our absolute world position. We've got our, we could change the distance from the rock outer to the shader or water surface if you like. Then we're clamping it to 0 to 1. We've got our ripple amount. This is the amount of ripples, and this is the speed of our ripples. But as you can see, if I start previewing this, we're just getting a bright glowing light. And basically what this is our time node. This is a 0 to 1, so when this time node starts at 0, then goes to 1, and it'll just keep continuing. But because we're clamped, it's just going to stay at 1 all the time. So I want it to repeat, so we can repeat our ripples. And we can do that with what's called a seal node. Like not the fish seal, you can see there, C-E-I-L. And what this is going to do, if I start to preview this, is it's actually not the right one. Let me Control and Alt, and if you hold Control and Alt and hover over a node, it'll tell you a little mini pop-up. It tells you, so the seal expression takes in a value, rounds them up to the nearest integer. Right, so it's not the seal node. The problem we're having here is rounds them up to the next integer, and an integer in code is a whole number. What we need is a decimal number, and if I remember correctly, the frac node is the decimal one. So if I hover over this, it's the same thing. The frac expression takes a value and outputs a decimal part of these values. So the reason we can't use the seal node is because it's an integer, and because we're clamped between 0 and 1, this is just going to leave it at 1 all the time, so it's just going to stay like that. But if I do it with a frac node and just delete the seal node, I don't need it. If I start to preview this, and you'll see now, if we zoom in, we're getting that. That's the kind of thing I'm looking for. Don't ask me why it's flickering like that. It's a bit crazy. I don't know why. But we don't need to worry about that, as this is translucent. So basically, this frac node, what it's doing is, we start at 0 with this time node, and with the time, like going forwards, it's going to hit 1 eventually, and then it'll stay at 1. But what this frac node is going to do, once it gets to 1, it's going to restart the whole cycle again. So as you can see, we start in the bottom left here, in the corner of the cube, we move in, and once it reaches 1, it skips. So like I said before, the middle bit is a mask, and the out bit is the ripple. So as you can see, it's coming in 0 and then hits 1 and then restarts, and that's exactly what we need. I'm surprised there's not a little bit more ripples. If I increase this distance to maybe 25, that might give us some ripples. Right, so I need to increase this ripple amount, so we've put 5 in here. Well, the distance is too much, so if I put 5 in the distance, there we go, that's what I'm looking for. As you can see now, I'm getting this, it's just repeating itself, and that's the kind of thing I'm looking for. But like I said earlier in the video, this middle bit, the mask, is going to be our rock, and the ripples are going the wrong way. So I'm going to move these over a little bit, like so, because in here I want to invert it. We can invert with a 1 minus node. We'll file that in there. Right, so into the A of our multiplier, and this should go outwards now. So now, keep in mind, the middle bit's our rock. Now the ripples are going to be coming out. I can increase the speed if I want as well. It'll just be a little bit quicker. I'll leave that at 0.3 for now. But this is the mask we want, and that's our mask setup. What I need now is a normal map to imitate our ripples with. So if we come to our content drawer, you can click content drawer at the bottom here, or hold left control and space and it'll open it up. We'll come to build worlds, we'll come to masks, water matte masks and water normals. I see this one, the shoreline ripple. I'm tempted to use that, but it really won't look good because the normals. It's just the way the ripples are. It'll just look silly. I mean, we could probably try it later on, maybe. Or I'll try it off camera. But this texture's more for an ocean. An ocean shader we will be making on this channel eventually when the timing's right. And we will probably use that shoreline ripple. But for now, I'm probably going to use this. It's a 2K texture. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on it, come into our graph, just click in the graph, hold T on the keyboard and left click, and it'll get a texture sample in with that actual normal map in there. So what I'm going to need for this is some UVs. If I get a divide node, everyone who's returning viewers to this video, this channel knows that I use divides instead of multiplies or UVs. So if I drag this in there, and then I'm going to hold S on the keyboard and left click, get a scale parameter. We'll call this ripple normal UVs, like so. And we'll just start, it needs to be a fairly large number, so I'll start with a 50. Just throw that in there. I'm going to start previewing this. Oh wait, I'll just stop previewing this. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. I'll right click and start to preview. You'll see we're getting an error. That is because this texture samples are expecting a vector 2, and at the minute with the world position we're a vector 3. There's two ways you can do this. You can either come in here, get a component mask, and have the X and G, which is your the R and G channel selected, which is X and Y. You can fire that in there, and it'll get rid of that error. Or, because we will need this in the end, I'm going to use a new function. It's called make vector float 2, and this basically will make a vector 2, but this is a good way to join our mask and our UVs up to the same texture, and you'll see the error goes away. If we get close to our preview here now, you'll see we're kind of getting what we're looking for. That looks crazy as hell. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm looking for. Got our normal scrolling on the edge. So yeah, let's work with this for now. Okay, so I'm going to drag out, see what I'm thinking now. I need to blend this with some fake normals. By fake normals, I mean if we hold 3 on the keyboard and left click, and this will get a vector 3 parameter. Come to the blue channel, just put a 1 in there. This essentially now is a fake normal. You could use it as a normal, but it doesn't do anything. That's why we call it a fake normal. But I need to blend this with this actual normal texture. But because this is a vector 3, yeah. So what I'm going to use, I'm going to right click and get a lerp. And we want a lerp 3 color function. Just click ahead on that. And the reason we open this function up, and the reason I'm using this is because it uses the alpha to blend with a saturate node, so I cannot go over 1. So it's just added security with my normals. And it's multiplied by 2 actually. that's pretty good. Yeah, so if we fire this in the B channel of our lerp 3 colour, and then this fake normal, we're just going to fire it in the A channel and the C channel. And then what I want to do is just simply put this mask in there in the alpha. I right click this now and start previewing it. Nothing much would have changed, but you'll see these edges around there now are being blended very well. We may not need this, but we'll see towards the end. But yeah, that's what I'm going to stick with for now. Just put that there, a bit too close. What I want to do now is to create the ability to change our normals. Well, add some amount to our normals, you know, increase the intensity of our normals. So I'm going to drag off this lerp, get a flatten normal node. This is quite a basic flatten normal function. I am going to do a video in a couple of weeks' time where we create our own normal function, so we don't have to keep doing this. But I'm going to drag off here and get a 1 minus. If you don't know why the 1 minus, is because this function flattens a normal, and when you increase a value in your scalar parameter, you don't want to flatten the normal, you want to increase it. So I always invert it here. I'm going to hold S on the keyboard and get a scalar parameter, and we're going to call this ripple normal amount. Right, so we'll give it a value of 1. I'll just throw that in there. Right, so how should we do this now? So I've pretty much made the mask up, and I'm starting to blend with our texture sample, which is our normal texture. What I want to do now is to blend our actual surface normals and blend it with our new ripple normals. The reason I'm going to do this is because I can use this mask, this 1 minus here, and use that in the alpha of a lerp, and what it'll do, it'll mask out the center part here, and that'll become these normals, and the outer edge will be these ripple normals. So I'm going to hold L on the keyboard and get a lerp. I'll fire this ripple normal into B. I'm not going to drag a noodle. As you can see, I've got a reroute declaration node, so I'm going to right click here, name reroutes, get the normals, and just throw that into that A slot. And then this 1 minus, I want to drag this into our alpha. It may not need the 1 minus, it might just come from the saturate node, but we'll do it this way for now. And we'll see how this looks. Now, so if I start to preview this, it's meant to actually mask that out. Yeah, but it won't yet. No, that's right, it won't yet. Right, okay. So, I stop previewing this now. It won't let me. There we go. Stop previewing that now. I'm going to give us the ability to turn this on and off. So I'm going to drag off this lerp and get a static switch parameter like this. I'm going to call it enable edge ripples, like so. And now I will be able to just switch it on and off if I want to use edge ripples or not. That's what we're going to do it with. And if it's a false, we could just simply revert back to these normals, which is this, and then normals are already going in. So essentially what we're doing is, if we're not enabling this normals, we're just going to stick with these surface normals. So I'll throw that in the false. Alright, so I'm going to right click on there, and this should work and connect to normals. So yeah, let's apply this and fingers crossed. Let's have a look around the edge here. Has it worked? It doesn't look like it has. Let's just double check this now. Yep, that logic seems alright. Maybe because there is no values somewhere. It's a bit strange. I've gone into the normal. Oh my days, guys. I am so silly. I've literally just brought this static switch parameter in, and by default it's set to false. Sorry about that. That's a brain fart moment. So let's open the material instance. Okay, so like I said, let's open our material instance. We're going to come to our content drawer, water shader, lake, and open our material instance. And you'll see here we have enable edge ripples. I'm going to fire that in there. I hope this works after all this laughing and joking. So I'm going to hit that, and then we can just enable this, and our options will pop up. Let's have a look if it's worked. If I get close. Yes, it has worked, because I can see all this inside the mesh, and you can just see the ripples here on the outside. I'm not sure whether you can see it on YouTube or not, with that compression stuff, but I can see them here. So let's enable some of these parameters and have a look what's going on. So ripple amount, ripple distance, normal amount, normal UVs, and ripple speed. So if I increase this distance, maybe put 20, now you can see the ripples. Obviously don't look great at the minute. The ripple amount 10. Yeah, so if I put 3 in here, 2, 1, there you go. We're getting that ripple now, but we just need to sort out these normals a bit. This could be a problem. Where it's really coming off there. Maybe I might mask that out a little bit. I don't know, I'll worry about that off camera. But yeah, as you can see here now, some ripples are coming off here, and this is what I was looking for. So UVs is set to 50. I'm going to put 500. Sounds a bit ridiculous, but I am. 1. No. 150. 250. 350. Seems okay. So normal amount. We'll set this to 0.2. Now it's getting a little bit of a subtle normal now. What we can see. If I increase the ripple amount, and you could increase the distance as long as you want. As you can see, all these ripples are coming out. The more distance you give it, I think it looks a little silly, but this is just a personal preference. Like I said, I'm just showcasing how to do this. It's nothing particularly that I would use personally, but 20 seems about fine. Maybe 25, 30, 25 will do. No, 20. Okay. Ripple amount, what's that default set to 5? We're getting some weird things. 0.2. There we go. Ripple speed, 0.2, 0.1. And that seems okay. Ripple UVs is fine. But yeah, that is okay. This bit is concerning, but as I brought down the normal amount, it seems okay. Here we're getting a good little bit of ripple here coming off the rock. I'm not sure if you can see it. Let's increase that normal amount to maybe 2 so we can clearly see what's going on. And that's all it's doing. It'll push it out and then it'll reset. That might not be the normal that I want to use. But if I go 0.3 with this normal, 0.2, 0.3, 0.2, leave it at a 0.2. That seems okay. I can clearly see these now. Looks quite alright, to be honest. But like I say, it's nothing I would use. So yeah, that is how you get edge ripples. Like this bit here, it's simply because of the mesh. it's because the mesh has got such a slope on it. Like if I get a hold of this mesh now, just reduce this right down, you'll see that crazy ripple stuff goes, but then it appears here, and it's very hit and miss. This kind of effect here, what I'm getting here, is a similar effect that I'm going to use up here, where the waterfall is, and then once it gets here, you're going to get that rippling effect coming down here from the little mini waterfall. You can see once you get that curvature in there, it sends them ripples out pretty quick. But yeah, it's not just water you can use this for. This will work with, like, you know, if you want fire, or, you know, just use your imagination. But yeah, that's basically how you get ripples onto the water. If you want it, don't forget we added the scalar parameter, so you can just turn them off like that. You go back to normal. So yeah, hopefully guys you found this video useful. If you did and you've learned something and it's made an addition to your scene, then please subscribe. Don't be one of them 75% of people that are not subscribing. Be the good Samaritan and go ahead and subscribe. So yeah, like I said at the beginning, if you have any questions, jump on the Discord and ask away, and grab yourself that free normal that I've used today as well. So yeah, I'll see you on the other side. Thank you.